Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 596 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Maldo, and joining me today to talk about the news in today's news orbit, we got Chris DeBona.
Hey.
And Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
Did either of you happen to get stuck in a canal this week?
Not this week.
I appreciate that. That's what I appreciate about you.
That's what I appreciate about you guys. I got a spam from the Chateau Picard people just now.
Oh, just now? All right.
Yeah.
Do they want to sell you season 2?
It looks like they're selling Apple carts, Apple boxes. Card show prop crate for $100 off. So from the scenes, I guess, at the winery.
Are they screen used or are they merely replications?
Please note, does not include any wine. It's $100 for a box.
What?
That normally would have wine in it. It's been crafted in the same factory used to create the wood crate featured in the vineyard sequence of the Star Trek Picard teaser and the Starfleet Museum exhibit. Each custom etched crate is made using the same materials, crappy wood, and techniques, crappy techniques.
Used pallet crate wood.
Used for the original show prop.
Wait,
but it's not an original show prop, though. It's not a hero prop, just for the record.
The same techniques? Like they're using fasteners of some type and glue?
Yes, they're and they're like, who's the sucker nerd who buys just the empty box?
Well, let's go to the guy who already bought the bottle and would probably buy season 2 if we sold.
I did buy 6 bottles of Chateau Picard, which my wife called.
Well, I mean that's pretty good though. Then right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
that's a decent review.
It was priced as
Oh,
but it turned out to be
So it's a hard. That's why I've never understood wine. I don't understand the rating system. Like, how do you tell the difference between and It's like those languages that are like more tonally based or click based, and how you just if you're not raised with it, you never understand it. Like, I don't understand wine. I wasn't raised with it. I can't tell the difference between and.
Yeah, no, I understand you. I can tell the difference between champagnes that are good and some that are terrible.
I can tell the difference even if blindfolded, if the wine that is given to me is red, white, or sparkling.
What about like a white Bordeaux or Burgundy?
I don't know what any of those words mean. Are those or eh?
Well, here you know the difference between red wine and white wine, Rob?
I do.
What is it? No, I mean
they're different colors. One's red, one's white.
But why are they different colors?
Oh dear God! Do they soak them in casks or something? Is it about the casks?
No,
that's whiskey.
It's
Go ahead, Rob.
Think more basic.
Do tannins get involved?
Well, sure, but
is it white
basic.
Grapes and red grapes?
Well, no.
It's more basic than that.
Yeah, red wines have the skins on them when they press the grapes.
That's the entire difference.
Well, they have different grape types too.
Oh, so I was right.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. You're right.
Partially.
All right. Partially. I get half credit.
Or something. I don't know. Honestly, I'm at the limits of my knowledge here.
Fair enough. So they got the boat out of the canal, which was
not before Microsoft managed to, or Azobos managed to put it in the canal all stuck like. Now my question is, they didn't seem to have the little excavator.
I mean,
his job over there.
Look, man, it's a free patch.
Sure, a free patch that's 66 gigabytes.
Everything has a cost, even if it's free.
That's 66 gigabytes worth of Suez Canal updates right there.
I won't lie, man. Microsoft Flight Simulator looks really friggin' pretty.
It's incredible.
Someday I'm gonna.
I don't fly it much, but it sure is pretty.
If you have to download 66 gigs worth of patches every time you have to play it, Cliff doesn't like that. We're not giving Venology its appropriate due.
Well, Cliff is welcome to join the broadcast.
That's right. And complain about the wine smashing. I don't drink wine. I just don't. If somebody puts a glass in front of me, I drink it.
Join the stitching.
All right. Well, let's see. What else do we have on the list? I'm glad they got the boat out, but it's a weird story just in general because like that's gonna have repercussions. Like there's like food and stuff on those boats going through. It's kind of scary.
Livestock. They let the livestock through first.
Oh, that's good.
So apparently they prioritize the livestock boats.
Yep.
And the ones carrying the RTX 3090 cards, then
those just went straight to the Bitcoin miners. Oh man, wow, we went a long ways back. So the oldest one that I have on the list is that we managed to have one of our $135 million fighter jets shoot itself.
Well, at least it's able to shoot something.
Right, that's a first.
Let me find that story and I'll share it. The total project cost of is this the F35?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, the total project cost of the F35 cost $1 trillion over its lifetime.
And it is all going to end up being thrown in the garbage. It's just a matter of how long the sunk cost fallacy is going to keep it going.
It's so dumb.
I watch a lot of documentaries about like early NASA and like the development of like if you got a new documentary about the development of the SR-71 or the U-2 or something, I'm gonna watch it. And what's crazy about those things is that they basically just made them like in some cases in like months. I mean, yeah, sometimes years, but it wasn't measured in terms of decades.
No.
And I know we're better at a lot of stuff now, and I know I know it's higher tech.
Well, and those, to be perfectly honest, those systems though had a direct purpose that everyone was behind and a mission goal, right? Like half the people working on this don't think we need it. Right. So, there's a lot of issues like that with it.
I mean, this is a particular clusterfuck just because, like, every branch of the military wants it to do something different, so they keep on trying to hang it on the same frame.
Well, they basically no, but that's the thing. They actually have 3 different airframes, 3 different plane designs,
so
3
dumb.
different wing designs. It's like these are 3 different planes. Stop it. Stop calling them the same thing. It's dumb. And like, you look at a plane like this. Okay, so the windshield is from this manufacturer. The helmet's from that manufacturer. The helmet is this over-designed piece of crap that they should just replace with an Oculus headset at this point. The nose comes from this manufacturer in this state. It's just like, if we actually had to fight a war with this thing, it'd be a damn mess. I mean,
ultimately, it's just it's just senators signing off a bill in order to get the businesses in their state to get some business.
Yeah, I mean, this is financial engineering.
Yeah,
we're kind of at a crossroads too, where we're trying to automate the business of war, quite frankly, a little bit more. So there's going to be a time where we have to decide if these weapon systems need to be piloted by a man anymore, or if all of this we can go to remote control and advanced sensors,
I mean, I think that it's pretty clear when it's $1 billion airplane and you can make $1 million drone. Well, you get more than one eventually, in theory. But those drones, I mean, you make them for a few $1 million, and if one smashes into the ground, nobody dies. I mean, it's just better all around. Sure, it's only 70% as good. Okay, make 100 of them.
Yeah, they definitely aren't as proficient at killing other jets and other airplanes as a fighter jet is.
But if we learned anything from World War II, it was that whoever can just frickin' make the most wins.
Yeah.
In some cases, absolutely.
Yep. And if you can restrict your opponent's ability to build and access to petroleum, you're going to win. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if it's $1 billion jet or if it's $1,000 million drones, but.
Well, so a single Tomahawk cruise missile costs $1 million.
Yeah.
Right? So every one of those that you fling at somebody, $1 million. Right?
Yeah. Hey, look at that. Like, that's a middle school. Middle school. There's a high school. There's an elementary school. We just shot.
Well, we do target schools. It's true, but it seems a little harsh to point it out.
You know what I meant.
Well, that's the thing that kills me, right? It's like $1 million actually pays for a lot of stuff that matters, you know, and $1 trillion pays for what's half the stimulus, you know, that we just passed. It's like,
yay! All right, America, it's doing great.
America. I did watch the South Park the vaccination special.
It was funny.
It was okay. I admit I was a little like, this is South Park.
You know? Yeah, but I don't know. I like that they do a good job, which is generally South Park's thing. They offend both sides, and that makes me happy.
Honestly, I sort of lost the thread of South Park before the PC Principal years, and and so they had a lot of characters after that, and I'm like, I just don't care.
That's because they are offending both sides, and so you are no longer in on the joke.
Yeah, no, that's what it is. I'm just not in on the joke anymore. So I'm like, who are these people? I get that Mr. Garrison's a jerk bag. Okay,
that's true.
Okay,
that's true. Back to the Suez Canal. Did you see? And we're talking about U.S. government waste. Did you see the thing that we had a plan to make a new canal using 520 nuclear bombs?
So my dad worked on Project Plowshare, right? And that was the peaceful uses of nuclear weapons to dig canals, lakes, large repositories for petroleum and for gases.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, this is a well-trodden subject in the DeBona household.
I have never heard of this.
Yeah. I mean, the real problem is, of course, the radiation and fallout from your 13 megatons of nuclear bombs you need to create a canal.
I mean, anybody who goes through that canal for 100 years has to wear a suit, and everybody who lives within 1,000 miles has to move.
Yeah. Well,
good plan.
Depending on how strong the wind is, probably not 100 years.
Oh.
But there is a school of thought that is largely disproven now, where you say, how much would it raise the global radioactive background footprint of the planet, really? Because 520, 100 kiloton to 200 kiloton nuclear bombs to dig a canal.
I mean,
it's really not the end of the world. It's not great for the people who live next to it.
No.
But
if you look,
they'll just end up like St. George, Utah. There'll be like mass protests.
The wildlife around. Now, granted, it's not as much radiation as a nuclear bomb going off, but the animals around Chernobyl have pretty much come back, and there's catfish in the cooling rivers and system now. I mean, they're all stunted and deformed.
Yep.
Well, and they're catfish, so they're awful.
And that's where they're growing the grapes to make the Picard wine.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Probably not true.
There are Slovenian wines, though, that probably have a little extra oomph from Chernobyl.
It's a little bonus. A little something, something. Hey, Jackson County, #1.
Hey, that's you guys.
Well, that's half of us.
How did that happen?
Congratulations, Rob. Do you want to make like a speech? Well, like, should there be an award?
We've been making sure we lick eyeballs instead of bumping elbows. We only touch doorknobs everywhere we go, inside Lowe's, everywhere. Just a lot of not caring, I think. I don't know. I was actually talking to Kristen about this last night, because we have some pretty not the strictest mask mandates in the country, but strict enough that they wanted to kidnap the governor and try her for treason, right?
Yep.
And still, something like 9 Michigan counties are in the top 20 biggest outbreak areas.
Yeah.
And the county I live in just happens to be the biggest per capita, according to the New York Times.
It is a little weird to me that some of the really bad companies bad counties are like in the thumb area. I guess I never really think that, the thumb is really, I mean, it's essentially the UP. I mean, Michigan is almost like Grand Rapids, Ann Arbor, Detroit, and then everything above it is red.
Yeah.
So the only thing I'd say is I wish they would show a picture from Jackson as opposed to the picture from Brazil. It's like, you know,
It's confusing to
all
you.
we have is this broy guy and some doctor and the outside of Rob's hospital.
Yeah, which is hilarious because I saw the picture and recognized what hospital it was.
You're like, hey,
since we're there so often, I'm like, holy cow, that's Allegiance down the road.
Cool.
I think, honestly, if I were this fella, I would use less eye makeup and I'd do more foundation. You know,
he could also consider
a little
shaving.
less hair product.
Well,
a little less hair product.
Well, you got to cut him slack. That guy has COVID right now, and he's giving an interview.
Yeah.
I think this is a doctor, right? So, I you know,
he's doing fine work.
Yeah, but the makeup people aren't doing him any favors. You know, so.
Chris, do you have a makeup person?
Not for this. I barely have good white balancing. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on. I look like a crazy person. Here. There. Is that better? You know?
There you go.
I've got a range of 200 Kelvin where I go from being like a complete redneck to being a corpse. You know? So it's like
British royalty.
You know? Yes. Wow.
So we have the story up there where they found asteroid that is and these stories come through all the time, and they make total no sense whatsoever if you think about them logically, but it is still kind of neat that they found an asteroid the size of Massachusetts that's basically made of iron and nickel.
So that's great. There's two things. One, that's not how the economy works. If you flood it with a commodity, the price on that commodity goes down. So it's probably not actually worth 10,000 quadrillion dollars. Secondly,
I don't know, man. It's just quantitative easing.
Yeah, it's quantitative easing for nickel and iron.
Yeah.
So the other side of this is one of the things I've always wanted to do after I retire from Google and the game world and all the rest is buy a huge plot of land in Nevada, send up a spacecraft, and all it's going to do is carve off pieces of asteroids like this and fling it at Nevada, and then I'll just sort of scoop it up and do my thing with it. So
this seems like the sort of thing that only works once.
No, well, I mean, you don't throw the whole thing down. You just
until the authorities find out that you're.
I think you can totally get a permit for this. I think you could totally get a permit for this. Right? It's asteroid farming, but like literally, you go up there, you sort of nudge it, and it lands in Nevada, which is already a hellscape. It's already America's sacrifice zone. So
you don't think any authority would have a problem with you nudging an asteroid towards Earth?
No, why would they mind?
No. All right.
This is when Chris is retired. This is like 30 years from now.
This is a retirement project, man. No, I'll throw it at the moon first to show that I can target, and then I think it'll be fine.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. What could go wrong? Speaking of which, we didn't. Did you put up the story about the Starlink second stage?
No, I don't think I did.
This is a great one. It's in the channel. Here, let me find it. I think I just linked to some dumb Twitter post about it, but
that might have been why I didn't post it.
The most recent Starlink launch last week, the second stage had an issue. I think they were able to put the satellites in orbit, but then the second stage deorbited badly, and so it rained small debris over Vancouver Island.
Oh yeah, I saw that video.
Yeah. So
I'll put the link into it. It's in our channel, and I'll put it on the page. But it was a link to Twitter, so it was doing something weird on my end. Yeah. That is to say, it was launching a Twitter app and quoting like a guy instead of like the tweet.
There you go. Yeah, observed from the Seattle area. Yeah, so parts of it. There you go. Look at this. This is amazing. See that shit? That's really cool.
My title is SpaceX Rains Hellfire on Seattle. That'll get some clicks.
Yeah, right? Look at that, though. Isn't that beautiful?
It's really cool. I
wonder if anyone's found any of the debris yet.
Speaking of debris, have either of you watched the show Debris that's currently airing like on Fox or something?
Oh, no, I didn't watch that because it looked dumb. But is it any good?
It's like Fringe, but like more emo.
That's just what we need.
Right.
Emo fringe.
Right.
No, I've avoided Debris.
Debris.
So far.
That's also what we call
Debris.
it in our house.
That's really funny.
Debris. Oh, do you want to try some pickup lines from generated by GPT-3?
Oh yeah. Lay it on me.
Some of those are really good.
Rob, why don't you be the voice of GPT-3 and try to seduce Chris?
God.
Yeah,
Let me load up the freaking story.
use your sonorous voice to
I just think that he would be the most
augment.
seductive of us.
What's funny is they have some of the early ones from other tools that are not very good in the paper.
But yet somehow still probably better than me when I was trying to date.
I don't know. Picked up some pretty flowers. Want to smell them? Here, try to take my hand off.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, this was the earlier Curie model.
You know, I have exactly 4 stickers. I need you to be the 5th.
Ooh, it's hot.
That sounds almost like a kid, you know, like I like stickers and I like you. So
I will briefly summarize the plot of Back to the Future 2 just for you.
I have tried to do that.
No, it's really important that you understand. Biff was future Biff when that happened. Anyway, so.
You have a lovely face. Can I put it on an air freshener? I want to keep your smell close to me always.
Holy crap.
Yeah, that one was like, oh, he's a murderer.
Yeah.
I do like, do you like pancakes? I would use that.
Also, Chris pulled this one out already, but another one of my favorites was, you look like Jesus if he were a butler in a Russian mansion.
So funny.
Hey,
you look like a stealth assassin from the clouds.
Oh man, that's a weird one. I'm glad that science is really solving the hard problems.
Well, so this is the thing. I read stuff like this and I think, I'm not afraid of AI. You know, I'm just not. It has a long way to go before it's actually in the murder all human stage.
And
you know, so
I love you. I love you. I love you to the confines of death and disease.
Whoa.
The legions of earth rejoices.
Whoa.
Woe be to the world.
It's like a Ming the Merciless they trained it on, or you know.
And of course that same one has also, have you stolen anything today?
That's hot.
There was probably a second half to that, you know. Have you stolen anything today? Because my heart has been stolen. You know,
yeah, you know, a lot of those do feel like that. Like they feel like you missed half of it.
Yeah. Well, then there's this one, double duty recycling.
That's awkward.
Or also, Future Pop-Tarts by Tracy Thorn.
Can I see your parts list?
Baby softening pads.
Ooh.
I can tell by your red power light that you're into me.
Project Car Along.
Yeah. So
see, these are computers trying to seduce each other. I love it.
So not the greatest, but
nope.
you know, you got.
I can tell by your red power light that you're into me.
Look, man,
this is like 2 computers trying to get it on.
Look,
you know, you're right.
Think about deep fakes 5 years ago and deep fakes now.
Sure.
And this is only text.
This, you know, this isn't quite Blood Ninja yet.
Nope.
But we're getting there.
You know what I like about you? Your ... long ... legs ...
Thanks. ... All right. Somebody put up the mRNA sequences for the vaccine.
Onto GitHub.
Yeah, onto GitHub. So that's cool.
So get printing.
Yeah, if you know what to do with a giant string of the letters from the movie Gattaca, then you're good.
It's quite interesting.
It is,
you know, because there are people who own protein printers, basically, you know, and they could just print this thing out and then encapsulate it somehow and do science stuff with it. I don't know.
I mean, I would hope you would use it to cure people or to prevent them from getting diseases, but what do I know?
It's very exciting. It's not so long, you know. I expected it to be longer.
All right, so we got a couple of quickies, and then we can talk about some Marvel stuff. But Venomous People, is that you, Rob?
Yeah. I mean, that story is a little bit, like venom is just saliva that has been modified. So that's not a huge stretch of the imagination to connect saliva and venom. They just found that the connection was a lot closer than they had anticipated before. That the markers, the things you need in your DNA to start producing more protein, or saliva with more proteins, more deadly saliva. Those building blocks are already in us. So, yeah.
I do like the picture of the snake.
Is it a Sony Venom or like a Marvel Venom?
If you wait too long, then the carnage starts.
I got that joke.
Oh yeah,
that was a good joke.
I understood that reference.
I understood that reference.
So all right, there's the story about streaming customer churn, which I put
you said you weren't surprised by this.
Shocker. What?
Explain.
That people like subscribe to a service to watch one show and then cancel it. You're surprised?
I'm not surprised because I used to do that with HBO.
Yeah.
As Game of Thrones would come in and out, we'd be like, and cancel.
Yep.
But at the same time, this is why Marvel is doing the, here's your this week's hit, kid.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're designing the media to minimize that particular problem. I think that's interesting. I also think it's pretty damn smart. But yeah, I just thought that was interesting. Let's see. So we've got the fun story is that a dude watched Avengers Endgame 191 times in the theater. And my favorite comment about that was that he had to stop going to the gym, so he lost 15 pounds of muscle. Like, all right, you were so inspired by Cap's pecs that you decided to watch him and lose your own.
He was going twice a day during the weekdays and then 4 or 5 times on the weekends.
Now, I'll tell you, I think I saw that movie in the theater at least 5, maybe 6 times. And it might be the movie that I've seen in theaters the most.
Really?
6 times? I feel like that's the... I mean, I've seen other movies more times, but not in the theater.
Yeah. In the theater, I saw Star Wars, the first one, in the, 70s. 7 times. So, in a row. My parents dropped me off and then picked my ass up at like 9 o'clock. I was a kid. It was great.
My movie was Army of Darkness. I went and saw it 6 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
I definitely saw a lot of movies multiple times. Like, I know I saw The Karate Kid in theaters twice. Maybe Karate Kid 2, I think I saw it twice in theaters. And I thought... I saw a few movies twice in theaters, but seeing a movie multiple times was just not something I ever really did. Like, because as a little kid, movies were too special to get to go to, see the same one twice. You only got to go to like 3 movies a year.
You could just stay in a chair in this theater in Virginia, and you wouldn't be kicked out. You could just stay in a chair, keep going back in, and just plant. So my parents were basically like, free babysitting. Get out of here, kid.
You can be babysat by Obi-Wan.
Well, which was fine. I'm not complaining. So
that used to be the thing, right? When you'd have the afternoon matinee and then have a double feature. You'd just park there for the whole day.
Cliff saying he went with you to the Army of Darkness.
Yes, he definitely was at least one of those watchings.
Yeah.
Good times. So the other one that was on the list...
I will say though, this is stupid. Just for the record, 191 times.
Yeah, that's not smart. That's just
191 times 3. It's 573 hours of the Avengers.
I've seen that. Yeah. I think I've seen Endgame now 10 times. But like the last 4 were at home. And also, if ever I'm testing like my speakers or something, it's the Portals sequence.
You mean like on your left?
Yeah, basically from on your left to I am Iron Man. That sequence is my speaker test now. All right, so the other one that we had on there was Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Marvel's Original Sin, which was I posted so that we had an excuse to talk about FatWS.
So before we talk about the most recent FatWS, we kind of do though in this. I thought this was actually I really want to find this comic and read it. It sounds so, the Tuskegee experiments, American military doesn't have a great record with black people. And so apparently this comic, the one that gave us Isaiah Jackson, goes into basically Tuskegee like experiments on the super soldier serum that produced Steve Rogers, right? So
I really liked this.
Sounds really interesting.
So. They tie it in at the very beginning. It's part of a eugenics project, and that's what gives birth to that, and that's why the Nazis are working on it as well as the Americans, and they produce the Red Skull, and we eventually produce Captain America. Yeah. But then they continue the experiments, and the black Captain America they use during the Korean War, and then they arrest him, take his bodily fluids, throw him in jail, test him, and then eventually release him in the comic.
Well, in the
comics, okay.
In the comics, Cap was thawed out like in the 60s, right? Because he was frozen, but wasn't he frozen between World War? He was frozen like before World War II, or
I don't think he did the Korean War. I wish Cliff would just come on the damn broadcast.
Well, Cap was in World War II because he predated Marvel. He was he's the only character but he fought in World War II, and then I thought he was thawed out. But they did it in the comics in order to keep his age right, or to justify his inclusion in the Marvel comic world.
I mean, that eventually became a storyline, yes.
We really need to talk about Invincible too.
Yeah, we should do that. Anyway, I thought this was a really cool story, and because there's been two interesting stories that have come out of FatWS so far. There's three, but one I think is bad. There's this one. And then there's the whole notion of the sidekick. And Marvel had a history of having, the black character be the sidekick. And they took that on like directly. They're referring to each other as partners and stuff. And like the way they're handling that, I thought was really cool. And then this storyline, and then the bank thing, which made me just so angry. So it's interesting. They're really trying to tackle the race stuff in this, and I mean 2 out of 3 is pretty good.
Yeah. I mostly I think the show is pretty boring.
It's still pretty dull.
Yeah.
At least this one didn't have like the unbelievable bank sequence.
Yeah. I wish they would lean more, if they're going to go that storyline, the truth storyline. I wish they would lean more heavily into it and forget all the rest, to be perfectly honest with you.
It's tricky, right? They're gonna end up with, they're gonna give us like half a dozen plot threads that will just become like one-liner jokes or one brief scene in a future movie. They'll get to I don't know.
The problem is that these characters are not popular characters. These are virtually nobody's favorite characters. Now, I say virtually nobody because undoubtedly someone out there loves the Winter Soldier and Falcon, right? It just has to happen. But
they're handsome.
I will say,
far and away, no one
Bucky
cares
is
about
very
these characters.
popular with a certain demographic of children of podcast hosts.
Yeah.
So, I remember when Bucky first came on screen, and Franny was just like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "So tell me about this Bucky person, Dad."
Right? He's very handsome.
And I'm like, okay, I know what's going on here.
That's right.
You're
no longer a girl. Now you're ready to join the MCU.
Yeah. So if you're gonna make a story that is, pretty vanilla when compared to something like WandaVision, like this kind of story has been told countless times, right?
This is the most vanilla.
So if you're going to tell the story with two characters that virtually no one cares about, it has to be spot on.
Yep.
And it just isn't. So.
Yep.
It's not awful.
Nope.
Just isn't very interesting.
Well, that's the thing, is that I felt like when WandaVision was done, if I were to make like a list of top 10 shows for the last couple of years, it would be very near the top of the list. Right there with like season 2 of Umbrella Academy or season 1 of Doom Patrol, like the shows that have just given me the most joy in the last couple of years. But FatWS is just like a middle, so far at least, it's like a middle of the road Marvel movie without the fat cut off.
I would point out, Rob, your mouse is very clicky today.
Actually, I think that's my mic throwing some static in. I'm gonna have to figure that out.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about Invincible.
Let's talk about Invincible. Wow.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I really like Invincible.
I was shocked.
It was
so good.
The first episode, it was not the show I thought. I thought this was going to be more of a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And there's certainly some funny stuff that happens in it. But it's really not.
It's really not. Yeah.
And the end of the first episode really sets you up well because it really takes a nice twist, an interesting twist.
Yeah.
By spoiler alert, hang up for Invincible right now. They kill like everybody.
Well, it's funny because, it's kind of like, you remember in the beginning of The Magicians where you're like, what is this? Just like, this is Harry Potter with like grad school and Narnia. This is just a bunch of what just happened? It's like, watching Invincible. And I had read the comics back in 2003 when they came out. I really liked them. And so I knew, I was like, oh, there's some dark stuff coming. And it's just like, da-da-da, look, they're in high school, da-da-da, it's a kid getting his powers, da-da-da, and
That's a lot of gore.
Yeah, it was like.
So this show made me tremendously happy. It's gory. It's so gory. It's filthy.
And it shows you just how much Kirkman likes watching eyes come out of skulls.
Right?
He's so into it.
That dude likes to see some of the grotesque. This reminded me. It actually reminded me spot on of the very first episode of Picard. We're like 2/3 of the way through the first episode of Picard, and I says to Kathleen, I literally have no idea. There was a woman and a man who'd been a large part of the episode, and so they could kill either one of these characters right now, and the other one is the star of the show, and the other one they'll get rid of, and they did. They killed the man, and then the woman was the star because I didn't know the cast list. And I felt this about Invincible because I didn't know who the stars were, and they spent so much time developing the Justice team that they had, their parody of the Super Friends
of the Justice League,
and then bam, let's just rip them in half.
Red Rush is just the Flash. I don't know where they're going with this.
Yep.
Oh, I see where they're going with this.
Well, they let Jason Mantzoukas have a voice. I always like
that. I particularly liked it because right before he dies, he has a moment where he's explaining to his lover about how tough it is for him to focus on anything because his perception is so much faster than a normal person's. It's like, and it's a really sort of human moment. And he's like, well, but I still love you more than anything, even if I seem distant sometimes and have to do other stuff. It was a very human moment for the character. And then he's slaughtered right away. I loved it.
Yeah, that was very Kirkman. Kirkman's great at so here's this person, very human. You're going to probably like this person quite a bit. And they're dead. And here's a kick to your stomach there, buddy.
Thanks. I feel used.
It's so good. It was really good. And then the third. So they released 3 episodes, and they have a new episode coming out every Thursday. So you don't cancel your Amazon Prime Video.
You're never canceling that.
You're never canceling that crap.
No.
Anyway,
I don't know how many people are going to be peeing in bottles before we're going to cancel those.
So the union vote at BHCM1 is happening today.
Yeah.
So I guess, at the next broadcast, we'll have an answer if they unionize or not. But yeah, no. So episode 3, though, where Omni-Man goes to stop the people from invading Earth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh, that's how you stopped them, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. This show's having fun. I'm happy about it. All right, let's say goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye, Chris Bona.
Goodbye, Rob.
Bye, Rob Roseboom.
See ya.
This has been episode 596 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Maldo, the guy with the clicky microphone. I'll fix that for Temple of Doom tomorrow. Bye.